Hey guys, it's Hunter. Welcome back to another video. I've been back from NAMM, but it's taken me until now to put something together because NAMMthrax hit me like a freaking truck. That's what happens when you've got thousands of people all playing the same guitars without washing their hands. But this was by far the best NAMM that I've been to, even though it's only been my third. I got to catch up with old friends, meet new ones, saw my name in print for the first time, got to hold my first custom spec 7-string guitar, spoke on a social media influencer panel on the Gibson stage, drank a couple of free cans of Metallica's Enter Night Pilsner. I even signed my first autograph, which, by the way, Brennan, if you're watching, you caught me completely off guard. Should have come up with something more creative. Send me a DM on Insta and I'll send you like a shirt or something. But anyways, let's start with the top 5 coolest things that I saw at NAMM this year in no particular order. First up is the Balaguer Standard Series. I am super excited for that. So these are the most affordable Balaguers yet. They're made in China, they're feature loaded, and sport the recognizable Balaguer look, and start at $6.99. The new Fluff model in particular looks incredible. The one on display at NAMM was very Bill Kelleher-y, but it also comes in satin silverburst, and in the final version it'll have Fishman Fluent's modern humbuckers for $8.99. That's awesome. Then Ormsby, a brand that you guys have been telling me to check out forever, also had some really nice stuff on display. There were the 10th anniversary Shark GTR tributes, which are made at World in Korea, and looks super cool. More interestingly though, just like Balaguer, Ormsby is also jumping into the sub $1,000 game with a made in China line. No confirmation on final specs or pricing, but it's really interesting to see these indie companies grow up and develop from a single high-end custom shop to a global brand that caters to customers at different price points. So I'm hoping to get those on the channel as well when they launch. So those are ones in the affordable range that I like to focus on for demos, but a lot of what's on display at NAMM is just a celebration of guitar building as an art form. There's so many guitars there that look amazing and I'll just never be able to afford. The Kiesel booth is always one of my favorites to visit. The finishes there are some of the most consistently stunning and creative every year. My favorite ones this year were the transparent ones named Ice and Frost made of acrylic. They probably weigh like 7 million pounds each, but damn, they look cool. Out of all the guitars I saw at the show, those are probably the ones that I've been thinking about the most. They were just so cool. And then Sarah Longfield got her own signature Strandberg. If you were to put everything opposite to me into a guitar, you'd end up with Sarah Longfield's Strandberg. It's an 8-string fan fret headless monster with an ergonomic body shape and Strandberg's weird twisted block neck. Like if Les Paul is at one end of the traditional scale, Sarah's signature is at the absolute opposite end, representing complete and utter modernity. And for that reason, I'd love to demo it. And it also comes with Fishman Fluent's modern humbuckers. Maybe I'll ask her if I can borrow one. Then if you've watched a few of my videos, you may know that I'm kind of a huge Epiphone fan, and good lord, they are doing the business. I didn't even know about some of the new signatures before I saw them on display at the booth. A few we knew about, the 3 humbucker Peter Frampton, the Jason Hook Explorer, which now that I've seen them in person, I want to demo even more. One that I'm definitely getting on here is the new Jared James Nichols signature. It's basically the 1955 Les Paul Custom, which is still one of my favorite Epiphones ever, but with a single Seymour Duncan P90 and a wraparound bridge. I was about to steal it from the NAMM show floor. Vivian Campbell has a new signature Epi Les Paul as well, which looks sweet, and then Dave Rude from Tesla has a new Flying V that looks very, very similar to Brendan Small's Snow Falcon I demoed a while ago, but with red accents. The one that caught me most by surprise though was Lizzie Hale's new Explorer. She's the front woman for Hailstorm, and she's had a couple of Gibson versions that were out of my price range. Now they're doing an Epiphone one, and it looks nuts. Hailstorm is a band that holds a special place in my heart. The first real rock and metal show that I went to when I moved to the States in 2010 was the Rockstar Uproar Festival, and Hailstorm was among one of the bands that played the main stage. They killed it, absolutely blew me away, been a huge fan since, and the 2 guitarists were playing Gibsons. And that actually segues nicely into my first key takeaway from this year's NAMM. As much as I've criticized certain aspects and products from Gibson in the past, it's really all been out of love. Epiphone and Gibson have just been such an integral part of mine and so many other people's music-related memories. Since Gibson, arguably the most iconic guitar company in the world, filed for bankruptcy in May of last year, all eyes were on them at this year's NAMM. The guitar side of the business had been doing well, but they had lost the respect and trust of a lot of the fans. While there were guitars released by Gibson in the last couple years that I really liked, the Tribute series and the Walnut, the Paul, we needed a reason to love Gibson again. With JC, the new CEO, the feel that everyone seemed to have, and it was palpable as soon as you walked into the Gibson room, that this is a brand new day for the company. Everyone loves a good redemption story, and that's kind of the narrative that's surrounding them right now. Maybe it's blind optimism, or maybe I'm being caught up in the moment, but that's the sense that I got even before I got to NAMM. Now, whether you like Gibson or not, as such an iconic company and is one of the few guitar brands that's a household name, they're kind of the barometer of how people outside guitar view this industry. The point is, a healthy Gibson is important. And they went all out this year. There were so many fantastic guitars on display, famous artists, custom shop luthiers literally building the guitars on the floor. The atmosphere was just inspiring. There's a lot of work left to go, but they're off to a great start, and long term, I can't wait to see what happens. Also, Kramer is back. I always considered Kramer one of those brands that lived and died with the 80s before my time. Steve from Boston is incredibly excited about Kramer, that's totally his thing. I don't really see the big deal about them, to be honest, but it's cool to see that Gibson is putting in a solid effort in resurrecting the brand and looking to reconnect with all the fans they lost over the years to, let's face it, Charvel. And if last year you told me that Gibson guitars, who didn't even show up to last year's NAMM, would be leading the charge in realizing and promoting the value of independent social media personalities, I would have told you to get the out and take some meds because you're batshit insane. But here they were, hosting a public social media panel, giving us the opportunity to talk to people we wouldn't normally have the chance to interact with, people in management positions outside of digital marketing, distributors, and letting us speak about what we do, why we do it, what value we bring, and why it's important to directly interact with the community, with you guys. And I have to give thanks to Algin Go over at Epiphone for putting it all together. He is the man. But yeah, point is, seems like a new Gibson, and that's related to my second takeaway, which is kind of the general shift in attitude towards, and I don't like the term, social media influencers, specifically YouTube. Honestly, it was really kind of strange. In past years, NAMM has generally mostly been me running around the show floor, going from booth to booth, trying to get anyone from the various companies to talk to me. And once I was finally able to get someone, I would explain that I did YouTube videos, and usually it'd be like, yeah, here's a card for the marketing person. Maybe you can send them an email after the show. Sometimes I get an email back, sometimes not. If you weren't someone like Fluff or Bia, the attitude was generally pretty dismissive. But this year was really different, and it's not just because this community is bigger. I tend to lean more towards certain specific, affordable mainstream brands, so a lot of people I talked to had never seen a single one of my videos. Like last year, as soon as I mentioned YouTube, the questions were, how many subs do you have? How many views do you get? Now it's like, oh, you do YouTube? Let's talk. In general, there seems to be a greater recognition to the value in what YouTubers do and contribute to the greater community. I was getting pulled in conversations left and right, and I wasn't planning on that at all, so I didn't have as much time as I thought to film everything I wanted to. But yeah, the entire attitude seems to have shifted somewhat. Well, mostly. There were still some companies that were super disrespectful, but that's okay, they can do what they want. But yeah, it's cool, not only for me trying to make a legitimate career out of this, but also for anyone else, any of you that are looking to get into this crazy music or YouTube game starting from the ground up. It's really nice to see more mutually beneficial relationships happening, rather than companies just using people as a cheap or even free way to market and sell products. And my last takeaway is more of a product trend. When I was looking around the show floor for what guitars to focus on for the channel this year, it stood out to me that excitement around extended range and especially fan fret guitars have calmed down quite a bit. It's kind of funny seeing as I've only just started to get into them. Not to say that demand for them is dead or dying, especially 7 strings, which are still doing quite well, but when I was talking to Ibanez, they kind of confirmed what I was seeing. More players are returning to 6 strings and just tuning them lower. That being said, we did have some cool new fan frets. Court, for example, came out of nowhere with some exciting new models. I never thought I'd say that about Court. The last time I played them, I was still in China and they were not good. But these new ones have pretty sick finishes and premium pickups. And knowing Court, it'll be affordable. But overall, like, there's a reason why the big 3 American brands, Gibson, Fender, and PRS, never really fully embraced the fan fret trend with mainstream production runs. Demand hasn't reached that level, and it's not growing fast enough. So that's my short recap of NAMM 2019 and what I took away from the show. What about you? If you were there, or especially if you were watching from home, do your thoughts mirror mine, or did you have completely different takeaways from watching all the coverage on YouTube? But yeah, this was just an incredible experience. I'm back now, I'm recovering from NAMMthrax, and just looking forward to getting back to creating content. Shout out to Stuart Baird and the rest of the patrons for making this content possible when AdSense is trash. like it is now. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe for more guitar-related shit, and yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you for the next video.